Hey everybody, this is Kenji here from NeoTheory. Now, wanted to talk to you guys about my book. This is exciting. I've been working on this for a long time, maybe about like 6 years. For a long time I kind of had my own teaching methods as far as guitar goes, teaching the number system and teaching music theory, intervals and whatnot on guitar. I didn't think it was, you know, a crazy thing to look at music theory the way I did, but apparently it's a pretty special thing, because I'm getting so many good reviews from the book and how much people love it. But I thought I'd show you guys through it a little bit, show you a few pages. So this is the front of the book. The book's called Theory on the Fretboard, a guide for visualizing music theory on the guitar with focus on improvisation. So there that is. Now we go through the table of contents here, and then it just show you all the stuff you get in there. So obviously you get your musical alphabet, your intervals, and then after that we're gonna go into creating scales, creating chords, note memorization, intro to the major scale and the number system, bar chords, the number system itself, the major scale, major and pentatonic scale visualization, and then one mode for all of the modes, and one mode for every 2 pages at that point. The Dorian mode, Ionian mode first, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. Then we'll go through some circle of thirds stuff so that you know the notes and chords. We'll do the circle of fourths and circle of fifths. And that's all songwriting based stuff, improv based stuff, the relationship between scales, stuff like that, and then practice exercises and drills. So going through a little bit of all of it. Another thing that's really cool about this book is that all of your intervals are going to be color coded. So right here you got all of your notes, all the note names, right? And then an explanation on them. We talk about them a little bit and like what that means, what those labels are. Then we learn intervals, right? So tonic, minor second, major, minor third, so on and so forth. And then we learn about those and we talk about them here on the next page over. Then after that, we go into formulas. So how to make a major scale, how to make a minor scale, so on and so forth. One other thing is that this is spiral bound, right? So if you want to put this on a music stand, or you want to sit it on a piano stand or anything like that, I don't know why you do that because it's a guitar book, but hey, if that's your forte, then you could do that and you don't have to worry about it. And it's nice big print. This book is huge. I can barely even fit it on the screen. But that's for a reason. No one wants to be playing guitar, learning things and leaning in like, oh my gosh, I can't see that, and now you're in this awkward position. But anyway, you go into that, and then not only do you get those things are color coded, but you also get your chords color coded. You get a description on how to use those chords. So we talk about in this book the difference between the notes that are just labels for pitches and intervals, which are functions of the pitches, right? So that's a really cool thing that you'll get in this book as well. And for the longest time as a guitar player, it's really hard to view the music theory on it. And when you go to a theory class, they'll put you in front of a piano and tell you where things are on piano, and then you have to kind of use your own creativity and mind to find out, like, okay, how does that fit on my guitar? But here it's showing you that color coded. So you get your pentatonic scale, your 5-shape major scale pattern, and your 3-note per string shape up top, and each one of those intervals is color coded. So when you look down at G, it's red the whole time, all throughout every single scale shape you see. And then A would be yellow, right? So you can watch the colors and really target those for improvisation or just practice in general. And then on this side you get a description of what this mode sounds like, which is pretty cool. So this would be the Ionian mode. And then you also get all the colors and the intervals there on the side, and we reinforce that throughout the entirety of the book as you're learning modes. So when you go to the Dorian mode on the next page, it gives you the same thing, and then we realize, oh wait, I'm starting on the next degree of the scale. So I'm no longer starting on G, but I'm starting on A. Same notes though, and you can see that. And then you get a description of the intervals, the formula for the intervals of that scale, and then you get the formula for the pentatonics in that position. But not only that, but you get a description of what that mode sounds like in a good example. So when you look at the Dorian mode, you're starting to think, oh yeah, so it's kind of like a more of Santana or a Spanish type of sound. And you get descriptions like that for every single one of your modes, so you can learn all 7 of them on your guitar. Then we go through, after all the modes, you get your circle of thirds, and we start learning about what are the notes that are in every chord and how to use this circle. Descriptions on this side. We go over the circle of fifths, and then we get a description as well. And then it talks about the circle of fourths, which is just a circle of fifths backwards, right? And also you get to see the key signatures as well. You know, the sharps and flats up here. Then another cool thing is a beginner's page, you know. So when you read in the preface at the beginning of the book, it'll tell all beginners, hey, take a look at the beginner chord page that has all the open chords on it, and you can see all the intervals in it, and you can start to relate. Okay, a major third is that dark green color, and a minor third is that light green color, right? You can see that. And then as you practice through the book, at the very beginning, you can start to relate these intervals, you know, tonic, minor second, minor third, major third, so on and so forth, to those chords, because the colors will be the same. I hope that makes a lot of sense there. So your C major chord, the C would be red for the C major chord. The G major chord, the G will be red because that's the tonic, right? So the notes are going to change, but the functions are shown on this page. The note names, that is. Then you get some practice exercises. You know, we talk about note memorization all over your neck, how to do that, how to memorize all that stuff. You know, and then I give you great instruction, step by step, on what to do, how to practice scales, how to practice the number system, super important, the number system. Modal improvisation, how do I do that, step by step. And then we go through, which would be kind of the most advanced thing to do in this book, other than practicing, you know, your improvisation stuff, with the different modes over different keys and whatnot, would be practicing chord progressions in one position, in each position that we have in the book. And that's kind of like the highest form of this book. But it's very nice because the book is meant for teaching you how to compose your own music, and understand music theory as a guitarist, but then also how to improvise as a guitarist. And that's what I really enjoy about this book. And when I initially put this together, it was mainly just to be able to show my students a visual, so that I didn't have to write this down every single time I had a new student, which was quite often, actually. You know, if you get 3 new students in a day, you're gonna write all of this stuff down 3 times. You know, so having a book to say, all right, you know, go to this chapter is really helpful for me as a teacher. And in my preface, I actually say that the book doesn't replace music instruction, right? Like, there are technique things that you need to learn. And I was a self-taught guy, so a lot of the times, a lot of the stuff that I learned, right, technique-wise, was not the best technique, and later on I had to correct that technique. So I recommend, if you grab one of these, um, make sure that you get some good music instruction with it, so you can learn the proper techniques. And any good guitar teacher is going to be able to walk you through this book and be like, oh wow, okay, so yep, this is where all the things are. And it's built so that you can pretty much go from front to back, and learn your intervals, your basic musical alphabet, and how to generate scales and chords and be free as a player. The book isn't genre based, but it gives you all of the things that you need to start playing in any genre, even if it's an advanced genre like jazz or anything else like that. Now, I also came out with this book called My Music Journal, right? Now, for a long time, I didn't value music journals. It's like, all right, I'm just going to practice, right? But, when I started to take vocal lessons, I realized, wait, and I was forced to do a journal. I realized, like, you know what? This is actually pretty beneficial because I can look back on the days where I didn't have a good day for practice or whatever and be like, oh, well, you know what? I feel like I suck today and I just can't get it right. All right, but I had a good day like 3 days ago. So I go back in my journal and I see, oh yeah, 3 days ago I wrote down that, oh, okay, I need to be breathing better or whatever, whatever that tip is for that day that was so made me feel so successful. I can be like, am I doing that? And apply that. So you can look at your music journal as like, if you're playing a video game, it's your save point. Like, okay, I'm done for the day. I can save where I'm at. And then when I come back tomorrow, if I read my journal entry from last night, then I can build upon that and you can create a snowball effect. You know what I mean? Like, you're continually progressing forward rather than every day when you start practicing again. You're looking at the same thing that you want to accomplish and you're not, building upon what you did the previous day, right? So journal, very important. At first, I thought it wasn't that big of a deal, but now, very big deal. So the cool thing about this journal is that, number one, you get a cool coloring pages. I think that's really dope. But other than that, you get this page. You get a lot of these pages. So it's the date, today's date at the top. You can circle what day of the week you're on. The song or subject of your practice right after. What will I work on today? Important. And then fill in the notes. And I recommend write detailed notes. Like we're practicing music, so how you felt that day is important too. So if you say, you know what, man, I'm having a great day, I feel like I'm doing really good, and I'm really happy to do what I'm doing, so on and so forth, that's just as valid as, okay, I noticed this technique and that feels great, and so on and so forth. Because we want to kind of monitor our whole journey. You have days that suck and you'll be like, man, for whatever reason, I feel like I just can't get it right. But I looked at my notes and now I feel like, I'm doing pretty good again and I'm building on that. Write that whole thing down because, the journey is an up and down journey, right? Anybody that's learned any instrument knows, like, okay, there are days that even if you're a great player, there are days that you're going to pick up your instrument and be like, man, I just feel like I can't play this thing, right? And writing that down is good because then you can start to see, like, maybe I have way more days where I feel good than when I feel bad, right? And a lot of times when we're in the moment, we're like, man, I just feel like I suck. And we forget about those good times, right? So that's a good reason to go through that for your notes. Be very in depth. The next section, I'd like to improve on. That's so important. What do you want to work on? Where do you want to go? Make sure that you do that as well, that you go through that section and say, hey, I want to improve on this. Then when you go back to tomorrow, when you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, that's the thing I want to improve on. Because, we're human beings. We forget things. It's like, oh man, I wanted to improve on this, but I didn't write it down. And now it's the next day. And now I'm thinking about improving on something else, especially with social media, right? You're watching a video of guys doing some cool technique thing and you're like, man, I want to practice that now. We got to stay on track, right? Then the last thing, practice time. You got to put down how much time you're putting in. You know, so many people talk about, oh yeah, you got to put 10,000 hours worth of time into whatever it is that you want to do to become, you know, proficient or whatever. Do I believe that? I don't know. I don't know if that's the number. I think if you're counting in that way, then maybe it's probably not the best practice, because you might have wasted those practice hours. Who knows? You know, but putting down how much time you're putting in is important. You know, how you use your day is really important. How you use your time is really important, because it's a finite resource, right? We don't know how much time we got. All right. Anyway, so after we got those pages in the book, we have some blank notebook pages where you can just write in whatever you would like to write in. Use it for whatever you want to. So you got some of those pages, but then we get to the very back of the book, and we got some musical definitions. Pretty cool. And look at that. You got all your intervals. That's really nice. Then the next page, we got our circle of thirds and our circle of fifths. Really important stuff. And then this one, this is something that's not in theory on the fretboard, is staff, how to read the staff and what the symbols mean. And obviously another cool coloring page. And then the very back, another cool coloring page. But purposefully, this is not in theory on the fretboard, because I wanted it to be about learning theory on your guitar and not reading the theory. I believe that you should learn how to, just like a baby, right? You should learn how to listen and understand, and then learn how to speak, and then learn how to read and write. That only makes sense. If we're trying to learn all three at the same time, it makes it really hard to be expressive on your own, in my opinion. But my recommendation for teachers or someone that wants to teach themselves, if you want to teach yourself, make sure so you get somebody to teach you at least the basic technique, the proper technique, right? But anyway, my recommendation for teachers with this book is, say, take this book, use this, have your students use a journal, because it's important. You can mark their progress, they can watch their progress, everybody's happy. And then pick a music book of your choice to learn some songs from. It'll have the tablature and the staff in it, so you can learn how to learn how to read the staff and learn how to read the tablature, along with all the music theory that you're learning in the book. So, you know, some of my students have gotten Metallica's Greatest Hits as a book, or Megadeth's Greatest Hits as a book, and they use that. So, for their song practice and their sight reading practice and so on and so forth, their tablature reading practice. And that's great, because as much as I dislike the way or don't agree with the way music theory is taught at the moment, it still has its benefits, and it's good to be able to read and write music and communicate with people that are from that background as well. So anyway, that's a lot about my book, you know, a whole 18-minute video, but I am so happy to let you guys know about this book. It's taken a long time for it to come out, and man, I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, thank you.